Hey, great morning, everybody. I wanted to say thank you for tuning in and subscribing. I do appreciate the words of encouragement and the support. I do want to start off by restating a few things. I'm not a doctor, I have no experience in studying anything that I comment on when it comes to um, disease or preventing or treating or curing diseases. I do read a lot, and I do find it to be things sometimes I say as matter of factly, based on things that I've read, research that I've done. My degree from the University of Michigan here in Flint is as a history major, and looking at things, and an earth science minor, and looking at things from fact, historical facts, as well as what does the science tell us. This most recent pandemic and crisis has led me to believe that there is a convergence of a number of very dynamic large systems coming together at one time, and this simply sheds light on these things. And I feel like I research and I believe that there are significant facts to support that we are regularly lied to by people that we have given control in our country. And so I wanted to restate that the CCP virus, the COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is a virus that needs to be respected by all of us. It does not need to be feared. I want to get into some of the things that I've been reading, and I want us to really think. I want to continue a conversation about critical thinking, looking outside of what mainstream media is telling us. And there is a lot of concern about that, people on the left just say, this is the worst thing ever. We've got to vaccinate you. We've got to shut everything down. Doesn't matter what happens when it comes to the global economy. And then there are people on the right in mainstream media that are going as far as saying that this is not happening. People aren't dying, that this is just to end to hurt the re-election hopes of President Trump. And I think that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And especially if you've had a family member pass away because of this particular virus, the likelihood is that there were a lot of underlying issues, that they were probably older, but it's not always the case. And so what the information's telling us is that it looks like 90% of the people that are hospitalized are older with underlying comorbidities or underlying conditions, and 99% of them were that have passed away were very late stage in, let's just say it was adrenal issues or kidney issues or advanced heart disease, lung disease, those types of things. I know that I'm going to pass away. My heart's going to stop beating one day. I do not believe it's going to be COVID-19, but if that's God's will, so be it. I feel like we have more of a responsibility to those that we are being told right now is our greatest generation, those most vulnerable amongst us, the people that are older. We need to do this for them. And almost every one of the people that I talk to, and there's not a lot of them left, that are, they're older, right? If you're in your 80s, I don't think you participated in fighting for the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, of the people, by the people, for the people, so that we can so easily give it up today. The legacy that we are responsible for to give to our children is not laden with debt. Oh, that's what we're doing. And it's not that we just so freely lay down our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, the Constitution of the United States. But we've been convinced that this is what we need to do for the greater good. Brian Geisbrecht writes an article, and I'm just going to pull out something that I think encapsulates. It says, the experts who warned Swedish leaders that they must close their schools and businesses or face catastrophic deaths have so far been proven wrong. The World Health Organization insisted that Sweden follow its advice and enter lockdown along with the rest of Europe, but Sweden preferred to follow its own course. It's probable that when the virus has run its course there, the Swedes will have a much easier time getting their country back to normal. It's also likely that the Swedes will be immune from the next wave of the disease, having achieved herd immunity, while citizens of lockdown countries remain susceptible to the virus. Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, and Japan are some of the other countries that took sensible steps but didn't close their primary schools or businesses. Their hospital systems and economies remain intact. It's also probable that their citizens are now largely immune to the virus. And it's beginning to look like those countries got it right, and we, the lockdown countries, got it wrong. Many experts make a compelling case that although social distancing is an excellent way for individuals to avoid catching the virus, nationwide shutdowns of the economy and school closures simply prolong the life of the virus in a community and make no difference in the overall number of deaths. One such expert is Professor Yishik Ben Israel of Tel Aviv University. He's one of the number who argue convincingly that regardless of whether a country locks down or remains open, the coronavirus peaks and subsides in exactly the same way. Put simply, Sweden won't have a higher mortality rate than Britain, despite the fact that Britain shut its economy down at enormous cost. Nut Witkowski, a former biostatistician at Rockefeller University, makes the same argument. Is it possible that the leaders of most of the world's nations have made a colossal mistake by shutting down economies, causing the biggest worldwide depression since the 1930s? A few weeks ago or so, I did one of the podcasts on, are we willing to admit when we're wrong? I did it on the basis of Trump deranged syndrome. One of the main reasons why people they say they dislike Donald Trump is because he never admits he's wrong. Okay. I asked the question, how often do we admit we were wrong? Do we admit we were wrong in allowing our liberties to be sacrificed during this time? Have we admitted we were wrong when we gave so much power to bureaucracies in our government that then mandate to us that we must be vaccinated? Because that's coming here too. That's right around the corner. We have already shown a willingness. And I used to think that against large mandatory vaccines in order to go to school, I used to think those people were crazy. Now I've become one of those people because I look at what the numbers are, not what mainstream media and not what the self-serving, quote unquote, studies are telling us. I'm talking about looking at all of the data. And I'm not saying that if you have a situation where just because you can't say that something's caused just because that was the causation of something, just because you have some suggestions that, oh, well, look, we have some underlying circumstances there. I'm looking at more and more information that suggests, especially, I'll give you one example. In the United States of America, There's the CDC and the FDA telling Americans that you must vaccinate our newborn children 3 to 4 times more before they are 2 years old than the rest of the world, than the rest of the first world countries in the world. What we know about the human immune system is that it is struggling to develop in the first 2 years. And we also know that since we have made such an aggressive attempt to vaccinate before 2 years old, we have a much higher issues with our infants. And the list goes on and on. I would encourage you to look this information up and how less healthy we have become over the last 40 years with the increase of all these vaccinations. So I get back to this point. If they're lying to us about that, if the FDA has consistently been telling us, and then law enforcement has been enforcing it, that we cannot say anything can prevent, treat, or cure a disease unless it was manufactured, unless it was a drug that was created by a pharmaceutical company, stamped because it was tested by the FDA. We can't say that it can prevent, treat, or cure a disease. We have given up that power. This is just shedding light. This COVID-19, the CCP virus, is just shedding light on something that's been happening for a long time, and we've allowed it to happen. I'm going to continue to do as much work as I can so that I can have a part in continuing a conversation toward the truth. I appreciate you being part of this journey with me. I can't say enough about the texts and the reaching out, saying, the words of encouragement. I'm not polished at any of this. I'm still going to get a mic. I'm still going to try to upgrade this just a little bit. I don't know if that matters as much as solid content and an earnest attempt to try to do what I say I'm trying to do, and that is, let's further this conversation in an effort to seek the truth, and I think we'll all be better. I'm trying to keep these as short as possible and still try to deliver a solid message. And I respect the virus. I don't fear the virus. I am ever increasingly fearing the control that we've given to people in our government, who we can trust and who we cannot. And I need more of us to be having these conversations. I really appreciate all of you. I'm James Detroit, and I'm out.